Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Welcome to the 48th fortnightly session on empowering social emotional competence in the classroom, tailored exclusively for teachers. It's a pleasure to have you, each of you, join us today. I'm Aniket Arora, and I'm honored to serve as your moderator for today's session. Before we dive into the heart of our discussion, I want to extend a warm thank you to all of you for being here. Your participation truly enriches this gathering. For those who might be new to our platform, I want to take a moment to introduce CAMP, the Knowledge and Awareness Mapping Platform. CAMP is more than just an initiative. It is a commitment to bridging the gap between education and practical application. Our mission is to foster a scientific mindset among students while helping them uncover their hidden talents. Today, we have the privilege of hosting this session with Ms. Kashish Behl, a psychologist and mental health and well-being trainer. Together, we aim to bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to our discussion. And of course, special welcome to our incredible teachers. Your dedication to your profession is truly commendable, and we are thrilled to have you here today. During this workshop, Ms. Kashish will be delving into the importance of social emotional competence in the classroom scenario. Her insights are sure to be invaluable as we explore ways to support our students' emotional well-being. The session promises to be engaging and enlightening, and practical strategies and actionable takeaways for us to implement in our classroom. But before we proceed with today's session, I have a small presentation for you. I would like to mention that last week, on 20th of March, CAMP organized its 21st scientific excursion at the CSIR Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology, IHBT, Palampur, Himachal Pradesh, where around 50 NASTA students visited and learned from various experts at the CSIR lab. This program was inaugurated by Dr. Subhesh Kumar Yadav, Director, CSIR IHBT, Palampur, Himachal Pradesh, with warm welcome to all participants and oriented them about the R&D activities of the institute. He further congratulated the toppers and motivated students to participate more and more in such programs like CAMP. Furthermore, Dr. Yadav and his team inspired the students in their scientific pursuits together, interactive discussions, and lab visits. Within the lab visits, the student learned several new things in a practical manner with respect to floriculture, plant tissue culture, molecular biology, regulatory research facility, chemistry, and GIS and remote sensing, and various other research facilities of the institute. During the excursion, the students got an opportunity to interact with various scientists and research scholars who practically motivated them to pursue their goals. This excursion provided the students with a unique opportunity to delve into the world of science, technology, and innovation. It aimed to instill a passion for scientific exploration and discovery within the students. If you would also like your students to participate in such excursion and get a chance to explore, discover, and engage with various scientific disciplines in a real-world setting at various eminent CSI laboratories or research organizations in India, then do check out the link below to learn more about how they can participate. For any support, you can even get in touch with our team through the given helpline number in the chat box. Similarly, on the 21st of March, a specialized teacher training program took place at the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology, IHBT, Palampur, Himachal Pradesh, under the CSIR Jigyasa program, accommodating over 30 principals and teachers from diverse schools of Himachal Pradesh. The program focused on the theme from theory to practice, implementing visual and practical learning techniques in science education. This event marked CAMP's sixth continuous professional development program tailored for educators in collaboration with the Central Board of Secondary Education, CBSE. This program provided the participants with a unique opportunity to delve into the world of science, technology, and innovation. It aimed to instill passion for scientific exploration and discovery within the students. Moreover, towards the end of the day, the teachers were taken for a lab visit within the CSIR ISBT premises, where they learned several new things in a practical manner. If you would like to register for one such training program at your nearest CSIR lab, please check out our upcoming CPD training program list on our website and feel free to enroll for them. For any support, you can get in touch with our team through the given helpline number in the chat box. So without further ado, let's dive into today's discussion and work together towards empowering social emotional competence in our classrooms. Well, Ms. Kashish is a compassionate and solution-oriented psychologist and mental health well-being trainer dedicated to providing exceptional care and support for individuals of varied age group with mental health concerns, as well as advocating mental health awareness to the masses. As a mental health trainer and psychologist, she has designed and conducted well-being sessions for staff on aspects such as emotional intelligence, resilience, mental health awareness, coping during the pandemic, workplace ethics, inclusion in education, POSH and POXO, and many other training sessions. So now I would like to invite Ms. Kashish to address the gathering.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good. Am I audible, visible?
Yes, you're both audible and visible.
Perfect. Thank you, Aniket, for extending this invitation. And I think I'm more than eager today because I do see educators, more than 100 educators who have joined us here today. One thing I definitely want to begin by saying that the role of educators is actually the most underplayed role, because we also don't know the kind of power we all hold within our hands. We are genuinely shaping the future of our nation, and gone are the times we are trying to bring up intelligent individuals, but in the society today I think we all are trying to bring up more than intelligent, emotionally intelligent, socially intelligent individuals, so that they all can go on to become more compassionate human beings at the end of the day. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. Aniket, just let me know if you're able to have.
Yeah, sure, we can see your screen. Can you change the pages if it works properly? We can just change a few slides. Yes, perfectly fine. It's all visible.
Okay. Now, one thing that I commonly practice with all the educators is we cannot talk about the emotional intelligence of the children without being aware of the emotional intelligence of our own selves. We as educators play a very crucial role. So if we don't have that kind of intelligence we are trying to build in our students in a classroom, the social one, the emotional intelligence, then it becomes difficult to even pass on that. So my first little activity that I planned for today was, I really want all of us to spend those 2 minutes of self-reflection, because I don't know when was the last time as individuals we spent time reflecting deeper into what am I feeling today. So let's take 2 minutes, everyone, and why don't you on the chat quickly write in one word, just one word, as to how are you feeling right now, the feeling. The idea is to encourage everyone to start reflection of our own selves, because that's exactly, in a while we'll understand that how can we build that in the students, and only we can build that in the students once I as an individual know how to do it for my own self. So why don't you all reflect, take a minute and put it on the chat as to what are you feeling right. Okay, in the meantime, others are typing. Aniket, can I request you to help me out here and participate? And can you tell me what is the kind of feeling that you're having right now?
Actually, I'm excited to see so many teachers with us, especially on a
Okay.
4 p.m. afternoon. It's quite amazing. We have more than, I think, 160 at the moment.
Perfect, perfect. So I like how you just took a few seconds and you were able to pull out your emotion, which is excitement. And I know it's more difficult than actually we know, because sometimes we also have a very limited vocabulary. When I ask how am I feeling, people's vocabulary limits from I'm fat, I'm fine, I'm sad, I'm happy. And the idea today here is to together build that vocabulary, not just for ourselves individually, but in the classroom also. So it's always a good strategy to start your sessions, to start your classrooms with asking one simple question, as I asked all of you today: how are you feeling today? Because trust me, those children, more than coming to study in your classroom, they're coming for human connection. So that's when you start your class first 2 minutes by just asking your student, how are you feeling? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to play a video now. So Aniket, you just have to help me out in understanding if the voice is there. And I want everyone to kind of take a minute and listen to what's happening in this video. It really is very, very one of my favorite videos. So let's see if you're able to come up with that kind of reflection. So just let me know if this is audible, Aniket.
No, it's not audible as of now. Not yet.
Not audible. Is it possible for me to share a link with you and you can share the video?
Yeah, sure, sure. You can share the link with everyone and or maybe with the host, Cam, and my backend team can play it.
So I've put the chat here, the link on the chat.
Hey there.
I have a lot of memories from when I was a child. One that's always stuck out to me though was when I was about 10 years old and I was in school and I struggled. And I didn't struggle with English, math, or science. I struggled holding still. And I would try to listen and focus and process ideas, but I couldn't help myself. And to be honest, I would sit there and then I would just start tapping. And the students in the class would look at me and they'd say, "Hey, stop tapping." A lot of the time, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then eventually even the teachers got after me and they would yell at me and they'd say, "Clint, you have to stop tapping." It got so bad that I got sent to the principal's office for tapping. And he said to me, "Okay, maybe when you go back to class, just try sitting on your hands." And so I did. I went back to class, and when I felt myself starting to tap, I did this. I sat on my hands. And that worked for about 5 seconds. One time I was tapping in class, and my teacher, Mr. Jensen, he looked at me and he yelled. And he said, "Clint, stay after class." And I thought to myself, this is it. I am done. Now, I've always been the type of person that believes that a single moment in time can change a person's life. And this was one of those moments for me. And I will never forget it. And so I was sitting there with Mr. Jensen and an empty classroom. And he walked past me and he sat next to his desk and he said, "Clint, come here. I want to talk to you." And as he looked me right in the eye, he said, "Now, I need you to know something. You're not in trouble. But I do have just one question that I have to ask you." And he said, "Have you ever thought about playing the drums?" And in that moment, Mr. Jensen, he leaned back and he opened the top drawer of his desk. And he reached in and he pulled out my very first pair of drumsticks. And he held them in his hands and he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Clint, you're not a problem. I think you're a drummer." went on, I've never put those sticks down. I've toured, recorded, and played drums all over the world. My whole college education was paid for with drumsticks in my hand. Just because of a single moment in time when somebody believed in me. And he saw something in me that I didn't even see within myself. And from that moment, I learned that there's a difference between being the best in the world and being the best for the world.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, team. Before we continue with this session, I want to take a pause, take a minute, and reflect on what we just saw. We saw that one teacher showing so much faith, so much belief in that child when all the other teachers had given up. They were all strict. They were like, stop moving, and what is this? You'll be punished because you can't sit still. And everyone was reprimanding. And then comes one teacher one day who sees an opportunity for him to actually pursue a hobby, and how he channelizes that skill of not being able to sit still and constantly tapping into making him into a drum player. So all that the teacher had to do was believe, show faith in that child. And why are we doing this today? Because everyone today here in the audience, which is about more than 150 people, we all have to be that Mr. Jensen for that one child. You can't be and you cannot think of being Mr. Jensen, let's say, for all the 30 children of your class. But even if you actually bring a change to that one child in your class, that's when we can say that we are educators with a difference. And that is where the journey of even implementing social emotional competence in the classroom begins. So now I'll continue from where I left, and we move on to the next part where I want to talk about emotional vocabulary. A few minutes back, I asked everyone, how is everyone feeling? And I think we all struggled coming out with the word, with one emotion. Shayad, we don't know when was the last time that we spent some time alone with our own selves, reflecting, who am I? What do I feel? Am I angry? Am I irritated? Am I disgusted? Am I disappointed? सो अगर हमें ही अपने इमोशंस नहीं पता और हम ही अपने आप को ठीक से नहीं पहचानते, if we only don't know ourselves very well enough, how will we teach that skill to the children in our classroom? So this is right now just like a puzzle of so many words. Like emotions सिर्फ 2 या 3 नहीं होते, सिर्फ happy, sad, scared नहीं होते, but there is overwhelmed, there's helpless, there's anxiousness, there is gloomy, there is panic, there's being scared, and it's a variety of emotions that we all know of. So let's take a small minute to actually explore that how many of us, we have about 200 people now, right, Aniket? So now we are going to do an activity and see how many words of emotions can we all come up as a group of 200 people. So let's see how many words can I come up with. I'm going to give you a QR code, and what you all have to do is you have to just scan that QR code, and then an app will open. You have to type in the words there. Okay, has everyone understood? We have to scan the QR code. We all know how to scan the QR code. And after we have scanned, one link will open, and we have to just put in our responses. Responses make what is that we have to put? They will ask you how many words can you name? How many emotions can you name? Okay, so everyone quickly scan this QR code, and it will take you to a page where you have to type. Maximum 10 we can type, but minimum there is no limit. I want to see how many words of different emotions can you come up with. The task is how many emotions that can you name. Quickly, let's scan this QR code. Let me know if this link is working and people who are able to log in.
Yes, it's working. We're seeing Mentimeter, emotional vocabulary, and there's a space for 10 words.
Very good. So we all just have to enter our responses, okay?
You're on mute. Kashish, you're on mute. We cannot hear you.
You have 2 minutes. All you have to do is label as many emotions as you can. We have sadness, we have happiness, we have disappointment. Let's see how many words can you come up with. So you already see people have started sending the responses. We have got people who are saying energetic, cool, confused, amazed, weak. Very good. So now we're going to see all your responses in this word cloud in a bit. So I'm putting the QR code again. 30 seconds more to go. Let's see if you can come up with more words. Thank you. Deepika ma'am, I think on the chat is answering. She's participating through the chat. She's saying being lazy, being happy, being sad, being weak. So I am not right now counting happiness and sadness at all. Because as I said, those are the most commonly known emotions. Today we are just going to see how many more emotions do we know of. Okay, lovely, lovely. So now if we actually see this grid here, you can see the number of emotions that people have been able to give. We have happiness, disappointment, amused, exhausted, being kind, being angry, being content, being glad, being joyful. I really like that one person here has written feeling blah. And that's a very well said. Even WHO recently recognized that even feeling blah is an emotion. So, okay, feeling anxious, hatred, just look at this cloud. I mean, this is beautiful. So now you all see that, of course, happiness and sadness remains the most commonly used word in this cloud. But look at so many other words we have. We have feeling exhausted, we have feeling disgusted, we have feeling frustrated, shy. So good job, everyone. Good job. So this was a beginning to have an insight as to if I use so many words frequently, my children in the classroom will also start to feel comfortable to come back and tell you that, ma'am, today I'm feeling disgusted. Ma'am, today I'm feeling angry. Today I'm feeling disappointed. So if you allow that dialogue, that comfort space to talk about emotions other than only happiness and sadness, the children will also feel free to come and have those conversations with you and use these words with you. So now moving on, I want you to closely look at this picture and take a minute to observe every little thing that's happening here. These are the basic signs that you as individuals will be able to see on an everyday basis. I know we all probably work in schools now that government has made it mandatory. We have counselors. I also worked as a counselor in the school, but I can state one fact that counselor cannot address 1600 to 2000 children all at once. So you as teachers are the ears and eyes for the management. Things that you notice about your children in a classroom, no one else can. And therefore, you as teachers have to be very vigilant to catch these signs very early on. So you can actually notice things like that a child who used to be very joyful suddenly has become very withdrawn. He doesn't talk to anyone. He sits in the corner of the classroom. Or a child who used to talk to everyone suddenly even refuses to eat. The tiffin goes back just like that every day, and the parent probably even complains to you that my child is not eating the tiffin. The other changes that you can notice, that probably the child has not been sleeping at all. You can look at the eye bags under the eyes and say that, so something is wrong. He's not eating, he's not sleeping, he's not talking to other children like he used to. Or maybe there is a child in your class who's suddenly showing a lot of mood swings, which is again something not normal because he did not used to do that behavior earlier. Or sudden anger, sudden frustration. So these are some sudden changes that you should not ignore if you see it in your class, because that is when your role comes into play of actually extending your support, your help beyond just academic teaching. Otherwise, it's very simple job for teachers. They can come, teach, go home. But as I said, if we want to be the Mr. Jensen, then we cannot just teach and go. We have to we have to have a look out for these signs at all times. Mr. Jensen was able to observe that the child was not able to sit still and finding it very difficult, and he was upset because he was being scolded by so many teachers. So Jensen took the care of those signs in the class, and so he could help him. Similarly, you all also have to extend your help. Now, how can we do that? There are different activities. Of course, in 1 hour, I can only talk about a few of them. The first one is the child every day has to feel comfortable and happy to come to your classroom. So I'm going to actually stop my share in between and come back to the camera because it helps me to feel like I'm talking to humans and not my laptop. So, there's one small video, one school, where every morning the teacher stands at the door and the children come in one line, they enter, and then every child is greeted by a high five. So the teacher says, "Good morning, good to see you, so good to see you." And then she tells one child, "Oh, you were absent yesterday, we all missed you so much." And she greets every child so warmly, so joyfully, that children actually feel like, "Oh, my teacher missed me. Wow, I must be important." So the children also start feeling very welcomed in your class. Otherwise, they also don't want to come. They'll tell, "Mama, I don't want to go to school because ma'am to sirf padhayengi. There's only studies and there's nothing else happening." So if you want your class to be the best class or the most fun class that children love to come to, you have to create that space of warmth and love. And as I said, door pay you can stand at the door every day. You can do high fives. The next day you can try something new. Today you can do fist five. The third day you can possibly do shake and touch, and then the fourth day you can do namaste. Like every day you can come up with innovative activities to make the child feel welcomed in your class. So that is what I mean by comfortable space. That also allows the child to feel that, okay, this classroom is where I can be myself. Ma'am has allowed me to talk about my emotions. That's the first strategy we discussed. So now I can go and tell ma'am that I am scared, I'm disgusted, I'm disappointed. The child can use those words. Secondly, ma'am is so happy to see me. Someone loves me so much. So second, the child starts feeling very welcomed. And third, what else can I do apart from these things to make my space a very comfortable classroom is something like this. Take a second and look at these pictures. So now, all the schools that I have worked with, I have worked in the capacity of leading all the mental health and social emotional learning initiatives with a lot of schools in our country. One thing I always go to every school and I encourage them to have are these little corners in the classrooms. Just look, these are only this much corner, okay? The space is not too much. What have they used? Probably they have used a cushion, they have used a beanbag, they have used a carpet, and they have used some fun material. For example, you can place the squishy ball, you can place the glitter jar, or you can also place some coloring books, or if you look at the charts here on the wall. So these are emotional awareness kind of charts, and this I love calling as safe space corners. A lot of people, a lot of schools also call it peace corners. I love calling it safe space corners, because the idea is we are building a space so safe for the child. And how do we use this? You can just, whenever the child is having mood swings or is angry or has a fight with the friend, you can tell the child, okay, Raj, now I think you want some time to reflect on what you did. Why don't you go and sit in the safe space? And that's when the child will probably pull out a gratitude book or a reflection journal. And because it's a beautiful place also, no child will feel that he's being punished. Please remember, it's not a punishment. I'm not using that corner as a punishment. I'm using that corner as a reflection, as a place to spend time with their own selves and to understand, oh, what did I do so wrong that my mom is angry with me? And the child uses 10 minutes, 15 minutes to reflect. So these are these corners you can build in your classroom. And as I said, it doesn't need any expense. आप दरी भी बिछा सकते हो, आप एक पिलो रख सकते हो, और आप प्रिंट आउट्स कुछ वर्कशीट्स के you can put it there. So that's another strategy. Now, whatsoever we have discussed in last 20 minutes, if you realize, it's a summary of making your classroom into a happy, welcoming space. My teacher is welcoming. I'm going to repeat whatever we are discussing time and again every 5 minutes so that you know what we have discussed. So my teacher is greeting me with a smile and a high five every morning. My teacher is also talking about emotions. So you can also, encourage them to talk by saying, "Ma'am is feeling very upset today. Who else is feeling upset?" So what did I do? I shared my feeling. The child will start knowing that, oh, it's normal to have this conversation. Varna, children start feeling that, who do I tell this to? My parents are busy. You all as teachers will agree, parents today have very less time. So the child feels in their head, my parents are busy, teacher doesn't want to listen. Who do I tell I'm upset? But when I, as a teacher, did that conversation in the class that today ma'am is upset, who else is upset? That one child maybe in the class who has been not feeling okay will find easy to come to you and share. So we made the conversation normal. We greeted with a smile. We have these safe space corners in the classroom. Let's see what more can we do. The next is this. If you all look at this picture, I have taken this from the internet, so all credits given to the school this belongs to. Look at the faces of everyone in this picture, every child, including the child. And I am very sure that when you look at this picture, just like when I did the first time, it brought a smile to my face. This is, I know we use it very commonly as a strategy. We do use it in the early years in pre-primary or primary also. But somehow we as teachers forget to use this when the children come to middle school and senior school. We forget to have this circle time. Abhi, as a pedagogy, the EY or the primary teachers are trained. So I'm not talking to them right now. I'm talking to the middle school upwards, because teachers start saying, and whenever I've trained all the teachers, they come and say, oh, but we have so much syllabus to complete. We don't have time for all this. And my answer to them is always, you can do your syllabus sitting in a circle. You don't need time extra for a circle time. All you need to do is integrate. That's why today we are doing SEL in a classroom, because how can you integrate all this in a regular classroom? Otherwise, all the teachers and management will come back to me and say, oh, you are telling us so many things to do, but we don't have time. We have 8 lessons. When do we do all this? And that's the idea. You have to do it while the normal teaching and learning is going on. For instance, I'll give you a small example. I did not think about this before the session. It just came to my mind. For example, I am talking about Battle of Panipat today, for example. Now, before I actually start my teaching, I can, for 10 minutes of my class, I can make a circle and we say that, okay, Battle of Panipat was an incident of conflict and war. Let's take 10 minutes to discuss the ongoing conflicts in the classroom. What did I do? I related the idea of conflict which happened in a battle with conflicts maybe in the class. Maybe there are some children in the class who are fighting with each other. There's a lot of bullying happening and you have not been able to get time as a class teacher to address that. So I took out 10 minutes and I talk about conflict resolution. Please don't forget, it's a very important social skill. Teachers, as I said, ask me, when do I do empathy? When do I do, when you say, do perspective taking activity, take critical thinking activity, do social awareness activity? When do we do all that? That's how you do it in the class while your lesson is ongoing. I can teach empathy even in a scenario when, let's say, some ruler had jumped in to save someone. I'm giving random examples. How can you link it with your ongoing lessons? So circle time, coming back, I took 10 minutes. I sat in the group. I discussed that, okay, we will talk about conflict resolutions. I know a lot of people are facing certain problems with each other. Let's discuss how can we solve it. Once we have done that, we link it back and we continue with the rest 20-25 minutes of the classroom with the teaching of the topic. So circle time as an idea, I'm sure a lot of schools also have zero periods, also have those class teacher homeroom periods where the class teacher spends the time. Please make sure circle time doesn't lose its essence after primary school. In fact, agree or not agree, adolescence is the only age where they need more than ever. They have to come and sit in a group to discuss about the ongoing conflicts, ongoing problems, because teenagers face more problems than any other age group, and we all know that. So coming back to the strategy of circle time, which we also can use it as a storytelling circle. You can also share as your problem, and then again, as I said, it gives a lead on way to the children also to feel like sharing. So apart from peace corners and storytelling, I'm going to quickly look at this strategy, because a lot of teachers also then ask me one common question, that, if we become so much friends with children and so warm with them, now they will stop respecting us, and then there's a lot of misbehavior. How do we handle the misbehavior? So if you actually take a screenshot of this will give you a summary of when to intervene, when to take an action, and when to let it go. If the probability of an action that the child is doing is very high, and the impact is also very high, let's say he's always hitting other people, impact is high, probability is high, then I will have to control the situation. Then I have to probably take a specialist's help, maybe the school counselor. But if the probability is low, let's say it only happened today, but it was very bad, so then I can be a mentor and educate the child, because it has only happened once, and I'm sure I can show him the right way by talking, by mentoring. And if the probability is low and impact is also low, he just keeps doing these silly things. Sometimes as teachers, we can let it go. And if the probability is really high and impact is low, but he keeps doing it, but again, less intensity, I can manage, I can guide. This is just to give you some tips, because teachers do find it difficult to understand when to intervene, when to take counselors' help, when to talk to the parents, and when to let it go. So maybe that can help you. Apart from that, if we are trying to build our classroom into a socially intelligent place, we have to, as teachers, also use language which is inclusive. We have to use language which is respectful. I have to realize that there are all genders present in my class, all race, all religion, all caste, all point of views. So I, as a teacher, cannot pass a comment or take a stance. Sometimes as teachers, we get our personal biases in the classroom. Please remember, you are shaping the personalities and the future of our nation. Your personal biases really need to be kept outside the door of your class. Because if it's a socially intelligent classroom, intelligence itself means unbiased, respecting all perspectives. So that's just one heads up I wanted to give, because sometimes as teachers, we get really driven away in our classroom. Another way to encourage social intelligence, which is a lot of group work, a lot of collaboration, is the seating. I can't tell you how much just changing and rechanging the location, the furniture around can bring so much change in the way your classroom is managed. This is like considered to be the most ideal one, because here, everyone's seen and heard, and then the concept of back benchers and the front benchers is not there anymore. We as teachers have created that. Backbenchers, frontbenchers, backbenchers are mischievous, and so on and so forth. So with this seating change, we can actually address that kind of a problem. So collaborative seating really helps again to have children work in groups, and then when they work in groups, automatically skills like sharing, empathy, cooperation, teamwork comes into play. Now, what we're going to do is, again, a very quick activity. I want you to scan this. And once you scan this and it lands you up in a certain page, the page that you will go to has a few sentences written, few phrases written. And under that, you have an option of adding your response. I want you to rephrase that statement, because the statements that have been given in that document are commonly used by the educators in the classroom, which is not okay. We should apparently have a less confrontational way of saying the same thing. So open that document, scan and open, and below every statement, there's an option of plus. So you can add your response, where you have to add how you can rephrase, paraphrase that thing if you want to tell the child in a more subtle, in a more appropriate way. So let's quickly do this. I already see some people making changes. So to the statement, you are late, we can say, is everything okay today with you? Try to be on time. What happened to my early bird today? Now, I want to comment something here, and it's a very interesting thing that I want to say. What happened to my early bird today is a statement which is a good statement depending on how we say it. Sometimes some children can find it very sarcastic, that I am being sarcastic by calling them early bird. So the way I say it has to be very thoughtful. Otherwise, the sarcasm doesn't work very well with children. We as educators should not be sarcastic. Okay, I'm waiting for more responses. For you are not capable of this, I have someone right. Why don't you try something more exciting and rewarding and fulfilling than the current thing that you're doing? Very, very good. So rather than making him do that task, I can come back to it later, but first make the child realize his or her strengths. So good job. Stop turning around and distracting others. So we can say, let's focus on our book rather than focusing on other things. Great, great. Will you stop talking? Will you look at my face while I'm saying something? Oops, this is also a bit offensive. Um, I might think my teacher is being very strict if she says that. So let's see if we can also paraphrase that. Okay, so we can keep doing this, but I'll move ahead. This is just to give you, I wanted to do it for like 1 minute, 2 minutes to give you an idea how even what I say in the classroom can shape how the child is feeling. And we at no point as educators should make any child feel offended, humiliated. So we should be careful with the kind of words we are using. Okay, now I want to bring your attention to this, which is my favorite thing to talk about whenever I talk about social emotional learning or competence in a classroom. Honestly, First, let's focus on the blue rings. And if you notice that the classroom is the most inner ring, and the reason for that is that classrooms is the most intimate space where social emotional skill can be built. After that comes schools and families and neighborhoods and communities, but the most intimate circle is classrooms, and that is where you, everyone here today, play a very important role. And ideally, if you want to work on the social emotional competence, you can focus on these 5 pillars, which this entire thing is also commonly called as Castle framework. So the Castle framework says that 5 parameters, and if I hit the nail on these 5 pillars, that means I'm working quite well to make my students socially emotionally skilled. So the first one is self-awareness, where I really want my child, I already gave you in the starting an idea, to be more aware of what am I feeling, what am I thinking, who am I, what are my strengths, my weaknesses. Now again, how can you do it as a subject teacher? All you have to do is have them set their goals after every chapter and before every chapter. Maybe I've completed the chapter on algebra today, and I as a student will now set my goals as to what were the areas in the algebra chapter that I was very good at. So I recognize my own strengths, and then I can recognize my areas of improvement. So maybe in algebra I want to work on my word problems. I can do equations and formulas quite well, but I need to work on the word problems. That is my area of improvement. This is one example for one chapter of one subject. Like that, we can inculcate the habit of reflection on my own strengths and my own areas of improvement across the different lessons. And awareness need not only be in the context of my goals, but also again my emotions. What am I feeling? So this is kind of a summary table which will be very helpful. So once I have become self-aware, I also have to work on self-management. I know I get angry very easily. Now, what do I do about it? I need to start managing it better. So then we can actually do some activities, and if specifically if there are life skill lessons in your schools, the life skill lessons can be planned around these 5 parameters. That today we are going to do on some coping strategies, some management strategies, to teach myself how to set goals, to teach myself how to control my anger. Then we can also work on something called social awareness, which I already gave you small examples, how circle time, how collaborative seating, how group projects, all that will already take care of this pillar. And then we have resilience. Now, resilience is something that classroom is the only space a child can learn, to be honest. And resilience simply means teaching the child to bounce back. No failure is a failure. So if the child has not done well, it's our duty to tell the child it's okay, you can try again. And that's why if in your schools or if in your subject, you can add something called effort grade. A or B or C might be my actual score, but I can also add an element of effort grade, that maybe my score is a C, but my effort is A, because I've put in really a lot of hard work when I was studying this time. So that teaches the child the resilience to not give up, to keep going again and again, and to be able to recover from setbacks. So we can use these 5 pillars also in the classroom. So in the end, I would like to say that SEL is everything about, we've spoken in terms of giving them a space to take initiative, not judging them, being so warm, providing an unconditional, safe environment to them where they can be themselves and they understand that it's okay to not be okay. If I tell my teacher I'm not feeling okay, my teacher will not judge me, because my teacher also knows it's okay to not be okay. She only said she's upset today. So if she is upset, then I can also be upset. So to have this dialogue become very normal in a classroom, that it's okay to not be okay. And on this note, I mean, I really tried just putting these strategies within an hour. I hope really that today you are able to go back with some tips and strategies to bring social and emotional intelligence into your classrooms. See, gone are the times where jobs and admissions were given on IQ. Intelligence quotient is no longer the only criteria of success. In fact, the new criteria of success is EQ, emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. How well am I able to manage conflict? Even when I'm hiring or someone's hiring at your workplace, they want to see how well can you manage stress, how well can you work in a team, how well can you manage conflicts, how well can you set goals. And this is all under SEL that we just discussed. So let's teach our child to be more emotionally intelligent. And on that note, I've sent you last link where before leaving, I would really encourage everyone to leave your feedback onto what is that you really learned from today's session, what is your takeaway, and what is that you enjoyed the most. So that's it from my side. Thank you. Aniket, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Kashish, for the enlightening session. First of all, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for your invaluable contribution towards the success of this very 48 fortnightly session on empowering social emotional competence in the classroom. And I'm sure we can all say that, your expertise as a mental health expert, this brought a unique and insightful perspective to this workshop. I'm sure that we've all learned a great many things from you today, gaining, invaluable insight into the essential topic, all your tips and suggestions, and you beautifully covered and touched upon various topics and things within 1 hour. We're just grateful to you. Thank you so much. So
Thank
now
you, everyone. And hoping all the best for some really good, fun classrooms that you will now build for your children. All the best, everyone.
Now we can just take a few questions from the teacher. Let's see. So if you have any questions, please can you raise your hand and we will connect you one by one, and you may ask your question directly to Ms. Kashish. But please make sure that your video is turned on so that it gets us easier for us to connect you. So do you have any questions? Any simple question? Anything?
This time is yours. It's not going to come back. Ask any question you want to ask.
You can ask anything irrespective of this also, like anything with respect to the classroom, anything that she hasn't taught or you would like to understand. I'm sure she gave a very beautiful presentation. I'm sure we all understand that. But apart from that, if you'd like to ask any question, please feel free. Otherwise, we can just end the session. Do you have any questions in the chat? We can take the question in the chat if you have.
There's just one question, and I think that's for you. It says, do we get certificate for attending this session? That's all.
No, actually, there's no certificate for this session. Sorry. Okay, I'll just start wrapping up then. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you for your time, wisdom, and passion in contributing to the success of the workshop. And Kashish, we'd like to, we look forward to the possibility of collaborating with you again in the near future. Thank you so much. Last but not the least, I would like to mention to the teachers that to know more about CAMP's upcoming scientific excursions and how to participate in them, please check out the link in the chat below. And don't miss out on the opportunity to visit various prestigious labs and organizations like CSIR, ISRO, DRDO, and many others with your students. So if you have any further questions or any additional support, feel free to reach out at any of our social media handles or helpline number. We are here to assist you all on your path to success. Thank you for your active participation and dedication. Now we will end the session, but before ending the session, I'd just like to make one more thing, that the recordings of this session will be available on our YouTube website. Thank you so much, and we'll meet soon for another exciting session. Thank you so much. Thank you.